Hello YouTube, welcome back to another VOD review. I'm Tristana, One Trick Pony on the NA server, and the game we're going to be looking at today um, is this one right here. I've been having some pretty good games recently, as you can see this in the scorelands: 12-0-8, 14-2-5, 13-2-9 in this particular game. So I've been feeling kind of on a roll. Wanted to showcase some of the good stuff that I've been doing. Um, Been making some changes to my gameplay, trying to be a little bit more aggressive in lane especially, and a little bit less afraid to not take risks, but to showcase some of the mechanical mastery that I've built up over thousands of games on this champion. So without further ado, let's just get into the VOD. Alright, so in this game we've got Tristana Zyra versus Jinx and Pyke. So in this lane, it's a little bit double-edged because when you have a poke support like a Zyra, under most circumstances you want to like push the lane, shove it under their tower, give Zyra opportunities to poke. And you know, Tristana is not the greatest poking champion, but you can still auto people under tower. Um, However, against a Pyke, that's sort of the last thing that you want to be doing. And then considering they also have a Kha'Zix jungler as well, um, autoing them, poking them under the tower is sort of a recipe for disaster because Kha'Zix loves to get fed, and they have great gank setup in the Pyke with the E flash. So that's not exactly what you want to be doing. Um, in this case, I'm looking to just keep the wave sort of in the center, which again, you have limited control over as Tristana. Um, but in an ideal case, you just want the wave to be on your side as much as you can so you don't have to worry about running away from the Pyke. Now, I personally am not too worried about the Pyke because you can buffer his W, as we might see one or two examples of in this game. Um, what I'm mostly worried about is Zyra. Now, Zyra can block the Pyke hook with a nicely timed plant, but as far as I can tell, it's a little bit unreliable because you can't just make it sprout of your own. You would have to like plant the the plant and then Q it. I forget which ability it is, but the AoE one, you have to put the plant down on the ground and then Q it. Forgive me if that's the wrong ability, but it takes a little bit of setup, so it's not the most reliable block for the hook. In any case, if Zyra can get some nice poke down on the Jinx, then that might dissuade them from going in. But it's mainly just about dodging the hooks and not getting baited into going too deep when the jungler is there, getting trapped by the Jinx on the trying to escape. So, and then we have a Kindred. This comp I'm not too happy with. We have a Kindred and a Yone, which are both quite squishy carries. The Yone's a little bit tankier, but he's not exactly a front line. So this game may be a little bit difficult against something like a Vladimir, Rumble, both quite tanky champions. Anyway, let's just see how it goes. Fighting for the level 2 push. The ward that we place at level 1 allows Zyra to play a little bit more up in the lane. Because when Pyke walks into that bush, she knows where he is, allowing us to get to level 2 safely. Now this is an important moment. Pyke wastes his hook and his stun, which allows me to just jump on the Jinx. He has no cooldowns here. And Jinx has to flash. So now we have a no flash Jinx, and we still have all of our summoners. So at this point, if Pyke wastes his hook and his stun again, she's as good as dead. Now this is an important moment that I want to go back and talk about a little bit more. Um, this is quite simple for me to execute, but it has taken a lot of practice to do kills like this. The Pyke's done. So Pyke hooks. Zyra lands the root. So Pyke has just used the hook. It shouldn't be available for around maybe 10 more seconds. But his stun is available. He has flash, and I have flash. And E flash is a very common combo on Pyke, so I do need to be accounting for it. So as you can see, the Pyke stun, if it were to land, if I were to just keep walking, it would not hit me. But I know that Pyke is going to flash because he wants to guarantee that the stun will land on me. Because if it doesn't, then Jinx is going to die, right? To be fair, it's possible that Jinx dies even if he hits the stun, because Jinx is not level 3, she can't trap me. She's taking W and Q, right? So you can, it's possible that I could have even killed her without flashing, but it's still a good demonstration of this. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm pre-flashing, knowing that Pyke will flash onto me to try and guarantee that stun. So I try and time the flash as late as I can, um, right before, just before the stun is about to land, and that prevents him from knowing where I'm going to flash to, and he's unable to land that stun. So this is just and this is something that I knew that I was thinking about the second that Zyra lands the root here. When Zyra lands the root, I'm already thinking I'm going to flash. I'm going to pre-flash the Pyke stun. I'm thinking about it right here. Um, so this is the type of thing that you need to start incorporating to your gameplay around probably Emerald level. Just not knowing that, not necessarily like flash predicting and something super fancy. Um, just think about it like when you're in the loading screen, look at your 2v2 matchup and say, how can the enemies possibly stop me from killing them, right? How can they stop me from killing Jinx, a no flash Jinx? Well, the only real way is with the crowd control that they have, right? The Pyke hook and the Pyke stun. So I'm constantly thinking about those two abilities in lane. The Pyke hook is down, so all he has left is his stun and his flash. So what I need is a way to guarantee that I don't get hit by those. And to do that, I just flash at the last second, so there's no way that he can land his stun on me. So it sounds difficult, but it really is quite simple because there's only two abilities that you need to think about, I guess, plus the flash. Just before the fight even happens, you should know in advance how you're going to um, stop them from preventing you from doing what you want to do to them. And then the rest is quite straightforward. I get the W reset. I get a nice double kill. Okay, fast forward a little bit. So here, already they're in some trouble. Vlad gets picked off by my support with a nice roam. Jinx is level 3, but I have my component items at this point. I'm much stronger than her with with the 2 kills. So I don't need to worry about the level difference. Now here, as I mentioned earlier, I really want the wave to be on our side. So this is an opportunity for us to keep the wave on our side for a little bit as the wave is coming into us. So notice I'm not mindlessly trying to push this wave. Just want to keep it on our side. And of course, it's inevitable that it's going to push again, being Tristana. But for the moment, the wave is in a nice state. And it being here will give us more opportunities to go to all in them because they'll be further from the tower. It's not going to guarantee every single time that you're going to get an all in opportunity, but it'll increase your chances. Now, we don't know where the junglers are right now, so we're not looking to do anything too crazy. We do just want to check the dragon, make sure Kha'Zix isn't sneaking it or anything like that. There's nothing else really to do with our time right now. Both junglers just farming. It's important when you're versing a Pyke support that you, whenever he disappears from your lane, whenever you can remember to ping your mid laner because Pykes love to roam mid. Here's an example of the W buffer. So I'll probably do a guide on this at some point, but Tristana's W has a buffer period, or you can think of it, also call it a wind-up period. If you're hit by CC during the wind-up period, before the actual jump happens, the jump will still go off. On the other hand, if you're hit by a CC after or outside of that buffer period or wind-up period, once the jump has already been uh, initiated, then you will be hit by the CC and the jump will be canceled. So the goal is to have the CC land during that short wind-up period, and it takes a little bit of practice, but in general, if you just click your W after in reaction to seeing the CC coming out, uh, most of the time you will have it timed correctly. It is, a pretty tight window in an absolute sense. It's probably like a fraction of a second. But if you adhere to that rule where you just kind of press the W when you see the CC uh, thrown out, most of the time, I would say like 80–90% of the time, then it's going to work out. So as you can see, the Pyke hook landed when I was in the wind-up period, so I was able to complete the jump. Kha'Zix, we see him bot, trying to finish his buff. So we do need to be, I probably should be pushing the wave with more urgency here, because their bot lane has disappeared. They're probably going to help against this invade. It's possible I could even just ditch the wave. It's a cannon wave, but I don't like ditching waves at this elo. Waves are, especially cannon waves, they're guaranteed gold. In particular, cannon wave is half of a kill, is an assist, right? Um, Plus, you get the XP. So the only thing I should have done different there was probably push the wave much faster, seeing that my support and jungle could use some backup. But they didn't end up needing it, but they could have needed it if their mid had rotated, if my bot lane had rotated faster. Now, knowing that Kha'Zix was still bot, I did drop a ward in that pixel brush. Oh, well, I guess he's not bot anymore. He got top pretty quickly. He must have left the bot lane because he realized there was no way he was getting his camp's bot lane. We have too much priority in the lane. So I'm just solo here. Just looking to farm. I think I'm trying to get to 1700, if I remember correctly, for my Yuntal first item. So if that's the case, I should take a recall right away here. I stick around probably because of this plate. To be honest with you, I'm just pushing waves for like the last 5 minutes, so I probably could have got some more tower damage down. Pyke has been roaming this entire time. He's not even been in the lane, so I probably could have got an additional 1 or 2 plates at least. So probably a mistake from me. Now I see there's stuff happening in the river, but I'm on 2,000 gold. So even if I could go and clean this up, it's not really going to be worth it. Um, First of all, I'm 2,000 gold behind, so um, I'm not going to be as strong as I think I am, even with the double kill. because I haven't spent any of my gold. Especially against a Vladimir, she's just gonna heal it. He's gonna W. Kha'Zix's just gonna E. Um, and plus it takes time, to walk from bot lane to mid lane. So I prefer just keep the tempo, keep Jinx under pressure. Basing allows me to drag this wave and deny Jinx a bunch of golden XP. So I definitely think that this was the better decision to ignore that mid play. Not much happening here. We just denied Jinx a whole wave. Denied Jinx probably another wave. Pyke is roaming, so he's like totally screwing his ADC over. To be fair, it's gonna be a long time before she ever gets back in this game. She's about to call. Um, at this point, it makes sense to break the freeze and, and go for the tower. Just because we have a cannon, so it's gonna kill this wave quite fast. The freeze is essentially broken. Now, instead of going for tower plates, I'm instead choosing to hover mid. I think this is a fine decision because the void grubs are up especially. Um, I'm looking, but there's not really anything happening, and our jungler just died. So, just walk back to bot lane. No real problems here. Now, I got a lucky kill actually. I went to camp the bush, see if Jinx was going to hit the tower. Now, she didn't hit the tower, but she did go face check that pixel bush. She got close enough for me to reach her. A couple of important things to keep in mind here. It's another good example of calculation. So the only way that Jinx can stop me from killing her here is flash and her traps. So I save my flash to flash her traps, use my ult to get her away from her tower, and then I account for her barrier in my head. A lot of ADC players will forget about barrier, so you have to remember that she's going to use it instead of walking away on that last auto. You need to get two more autos in. I needed to get two more autos in. So make sure you always account for barrier. If you had assumed or forgotten about barrier, you might have missed that kill. Or if you hadn't been prepared to flash the E, you might have missed that kill also. Looks like our jungler is not doing too great. They're just diving our tier 2 tower. Our support needs to help. So the top side of the map really is not in that great of a state this game. 10 kills to 6. Half of the kills on the team are mine. And no one's really getting assist gold with me at this point because we're 1v1 in the lane. I'm running mid just because they were out of base because there was some action happening top lane. So it's possible I could have done a quick assist as the wave comes back to my tower. Now I know that Jinx has a ward in that bush, so not going to be any sneaky plays this time. Dragon is up, so and our jungler is bot, so probably should be shoving this wave rather than freezing it. And looking to get some vision. My trinket ward is coming back up. So yeah, I probably should have shoved this wave instead of pulling it like this. And the ward is a bit too defensive at this point. I think that's a too defensive ward. Probably should put it in the dragon pit. But I did shove that wave, and I'm able to move for this play. But Pyke is already going to be dead without me, I believe. Yeah. And so will Vladimir. But this should allow us to grab the dragon, hopefully. Now, Kha'Zix does end up sitting in my ward, which allows us to kill him. Actually, not quite kill him, but we chunk him, get him really low. The jump was a bit questionable. Kendra gets the kill on the back end. Jinx is useless, so she can't contest the dragon. So just shove that wave, kill dragon. Probably shove one more wave. Go home, spend 1100 gold. Back to lane. I'm asking for vision here because at this point, it's 15 minutes into the game. I really want to take that tower because I'm so far ahead and I want to be able to go into other lanes. I and I don't want the last thing I want is for Vladimir or Kha'Zix to come here together and get a shutdown on me. I don't want a shutdown going to either of those champions. So I'm begging for Zyra to come put a ward, but um, I'll just have to play it safe. I don't have my flash, so this is kind of a vulnerable position for me. But my ward is back up, so I only have to. I see Kha'Zix and Vladimir both top now as well, so quite safe to do whatever I want. And Jinx is gonna get killed here. Important mechanical tip to ult people away from their tower so they have more time to auto them. And I have a lot of gold, so it's time to go home again. How did I get that much gold? Did I not base earlier? I did base earlier. I just got a lot of gold, I guess. It's already time for Infinity Edge. Now I forget to use the Hex Gates. I do this all the time, but whenever it's the Hex Tech Dragon, never forget to use those Hex Gates. Gets you on the map way faster. Although I'm actually not sure for mid lane if it's that much faster, because you do have to kind of take a bit of a detour. Now my goal is to just shove waves, get priority, force people to respond to these waves, so that my team gets numbers advantage in any fights they want to take. I should always have priority on these waves if it's a 1v1. I outrange most of their team by level 12, so I'm telling Hui that I'm suggesting to Hui that he can just push spot lane. Um, to be fair, he doesn't know where Kha'Zix is, but yeah, he should be able to kind of abuse Jinx in a side lane. Just letting him know. For the moment, Jinx is weak, but something I found that even if you smash a Jinx in lane, a lot of times they can kind of worm their way back into the game with some lucky rocket shutdowns, some lucky passive procs. That's why she's such a good solo queue champion, is because you can kind of find your way back in the game with shutdowns as Jinx. Wish I could play her, but her abilities are a little strange to me. They feel a little clunky. Just going for dragon here. Again, always just pushing the mid wave before the objective. If you ever wondered why people say to push the mid wave before the objective, there's a few reasons, and they're not as obvious as you might think. Number one, if you don't push the mid wave and the enemies push the mid wave, then they can threaten to trade the dragon for 5 manning down mid. No, this is just a bad fight. We got Rumble ulted and Vlad ulted. Yeah, we get a Vlad ult on us and then a Rumble ult shortly after. And a Jinx ult AoE, so we just lose this fight. Yone wasn't there either, so it's fine. We did what we could, got out with our life. Yeah, so mid prio, if you don't push it and the enemies push it, they can threaten to just 5-man down mid if they're coordinated and to trade the dragon. And this does happen actually sometimes in Emerald, Diamond, Elo. It's not very common, but they can do it. On the flip side, if the enemies don't push the wave and you do push the wave, you can threaten to push down mid too. Sometimes even just solo. Um, This is a nice kill into the Pyke. Uh, and flash out before they can do anything back to you. Although, I'm not even sure I needed to flash out. To be honest, this was kind of a panic flash, but I'm not really sure that they can do anything to me. Jinx could trap me. Yeah, and she has her passive. I think that's why I flashed away, because Jinx has traps and she just procced her passive on the tower. Didn't want her to get resets. Especially as Tristan, going back to the mid prio argument. Yeah, the main threat is to just tunnel down, barrel down mid. And as Tristana, you can actually do that by yourself. So as Tristana, it's especially important to get mid prio. Because sometimes if you just see that the dragon fight or the baron fight is a losing fight, you can just take a tower, sometimes even two towers for free down mid, and ditch the objective. Another reason it's important is for vision control, as you're fighting for vision control in the waves leading up to the objective. So let's say like it's 1 minute before dragon, and the 2 minutes before, you want to be getting vision control, right? But if you're getting vision control at the same time as the waves are crashing, then they can do the same thing where they just push down mid. Um, the whole point is you push the wave to threaten pushing mid and to discourage the enemies from prevent the enemies from being able to push mid instead of the objective. And as you're pushing mid, you need to be careful that if you're pushing mid solo, the entire enemy team is looking to push mid as well, and catch any people who are caught out on that wave. So it is kind of a team effort to get that mid wave. Because if you're trying to do it by yourself, it's possible that the enemies just five-man you. So you do need to be careful. That's one of the most precarious positions you can find yourself is pushing a mid wave by yourself before a Baron. Especially if the enemies have control of the side brush. Now, Kindred was kind of forced to pop his ult early, um, so we don't get anything out of this play. There's no objective up, but crazy how that almost kills me there. If you had a little bit more time, you would have QE'd me again, and I would be dead. I'm asking for vision around dragon. Well, just in general, I think I'm asking for vision. I feel very unsafe on this mid wave. Like how many, like we have no vision. I could get flanked on any angle, especially against champions like Kha'Zix and Pyke. It's very scary to push mid wave without vision. The only reason I still feel comfortable doing it is because I have W and R, but I don't have flash. Not like I want to waste flash on this, on pushing mid. I'm begging for vision because we have dragon coming up, and no one really seems concerned about that. This is a huge problem in low elo. I mean, I'm in diamond, but I mean, it's still kind of low elo. People are just not concerned with getting vision in the minutes leading up to dragon. It forces somebody to face check the bushes. Um, and I mean, even if you do have a face checker, like, your support only has 4 wards coming out of base, right? And the enemy has 2 sweeper charges. So, I mean, how exactly do you plan to get vision around the dragon when they have all these sweepers and only 4 wards? It's just, whenever I get autofield support, like the one thing that I focus on is 1 minute before dragon, I take a full inventory of wards and I place them around the dragon. I immediately base, and then like I get there again 30 seconds before the dragon. Enemies will have cleared some of those wards. I place more down, and then they're out of sweeper charges. Anyway, just as ADC, in games like this against a Kha'Zix, a Pyke, you need to know where they are. Um, if you don't know where they are, the best thing that you can do is death ball with your team, stay on someone who can peel you, And I mean, look at who our support is this game. It's a Zyra. No one is exactly going to peel us this game. So you just kind of stick around your team and hope for the best if you don't have vision. We do manage to get the Drake here, but but yeah, I mean, we don't have a great team comp. That's why this is going the way it is. So really the solution is just for me to get super fed at 1v9. It's not like you have to do this every game, but so the reason I flashed, by the way, was because it, I did check the replay. It wasn't necessary, but I thought that, so when I saw that this fight was losing with the Yone kind of going in and the Rumble ult, I said, okay, I just need to push mid because I don't want them to get our mid inhibitor after losing this fight and take the Baron. So me getting this mid wave allows, they still get the Baron, obviously, but they're not going to be able to take our mid inhibitor at the same time. I do flash over the wall just in case anyone was chasing me. I do have like a 700 gold shutdown. So, it turns out that no one was chasing me. I checked the replay, but I still think it's fine to flash. I don't want to give away 1,000 gold for free. So with them having the Baron, we should just sit back and try and defend our towers. Try not to lose too much. And, a very common way of losing games is trying to become overly zealous in your defense. Like, trying to defend that outer bot tower that we still have up, right? Just don't do that. Just don't die with your team when they defend outer towers or inhibitors or whatever. Just let them take whatever they want during the Baron. Clear the wave safely in such a way that they can't kill you. Wait for the Barons to be over. The only time you should really kind of put yourself at risk is if they're about to take a second or third inhibitor. Kind of missed a jump here. Pretty awkward, but it works out. Okay, skip ahead a little bit. Just trying to farm whatever waves I can right now. Work towards that LDR. Still just trying to be safe. I think I was spam pinging my team. Danger here. The last thing, the main thing to avoid here is just getting full team wiped. We just can't have that happen, or else they end the game. So once Baron is over, we have a window to try and go for the dragon, but again we have no vision control because they just got off of a Baron push. Now, unfortunately here I did not account for the Pyke hook. I thought that he would be hooking the Kindred with me at full health, but and there you go with the Jinx resets. I think she's finally at her third item or something, so after just throwing her in that lane, she's 9 and 6. She has 3 items. It's kind of ridiculous how Jinx always managed to come back in the game, but it is what it is. Should have spaced better from that Pyke hook. But to be honest, it's even if I did, it's a very difficult. We had already had 2 people dead. I think Yone died top lane. Yeah, so Yone's in a 1v2 top lane, so this is actually a 4v3. We should have had the advantage here, but Hui is actually recalling. So Hui just can't do this. That teleport is very late. It's terrible for him to just recall this late and teleport in like that. So it's actually a 3v3. Um, this is definitely a winnable fight. if we had managed to wait out the Jinx passive, or if I had jumped directly on the Jinx actually, probably could have killed her too. Um, I kind of tried to save my Kindred, but yeah, a little bit of a misplay from me, not looking out for the Pyke hook. And with it being a 3v3, it's much easier to get an angle on the Jinx. So I could definitely look to jump on her before she gets her reset. Now we're playing around Baron, trying to get, hoping to get some vision there, but our team's not really giving us any vision this game. And we don't really have any peel either. The best kind of form of peel that we have is Kindred ult. And you can bet he's mostly going to be using it to save himself. So we just have to face check a bush here. I can't really go in from that angle. I have to go around. I jump, but he has Sonya's, so Kha'Zix is waiting in the fog of war in the red buff area, so I have to jump out before he gets his jump back. Thankfully, we get the kill on Vlad. Again, I'm just trying to get some form of vision control around here. Walking with my support, helping her face check. We get a couple of wards, which is good. Push mid always. I W'd to try and buffer the Pyke hook, but it wasn't necessary after all. These rumble ults really, with our squishy team, they just destroy us. They bring like 3 people down to half health. At the very least, Yone has some lifesteal. I probably should have let him hit the wave there to full health. So yeah, so what I'm trying to do here is, this is a good example of mid push being important. So because mid push is important, as we talked about earlier, to prevent your towers from being destroyed, and because you can't have one person solo pushing it, because most of the time they're going to get collapsed on. Most of the time, both teams are going to need to be present to get the mid wave pushed out. We get the push first, which means that we are able to be the first ones to go into the Baron area to get some vision control. And this is how it's supposed to work, right? Like the team that's faster to push the mid wave or has priority has the vision advantage. That's why I'm so desperate to push. And then everyone's kind of, standing around. Uh, but I'm hard pinging. Please come into this Baron pit and give me some more wards, right? But my team is just kind of slow. I'm trying to rush this Baron because we could actually rush it with LDR, Navori. This thing dies in like 10 seconds. Probably shouldn't even hit the ward, to be honest. I should just let him. But we need someone tanking this thing because Kindred and I. This Baron would be dead if we had one person tanking it, and it wasn't, besides the Kindred. Um, but given the situation, it probably was a mistake for me to go on this thing when it's just me and Kindred now. The rest of my team is trying to fight them on half HP. I mean, the reason I want to do this was because, our team was half health. It's looking like we're not going to be able to contest. So let's just see if we can literally just rush this thing down. But I think my team just didn't get it. I mean, the first time I rewatched this, I thought this was you know, maybe it is a mistake on my part. Um, because it is a little bit of wishful thinking to think that you're going to be able to finish this Baron. I mean, it's true that we got the mid wave pushed, but we only really have maybe 6 or 7 seconds before they reach us. The thing is that we have a Kindred ult to stall ourselves. Hitting the Baron, we can kind of keep them off with the Kindred ult. The Yone R buys us some time. Hui has a lot of zoning. Zyra, knock up. I just feel like if we as a team, five uh, 5 mana's Baron. It's dead in 10-15 seconds. That's why I was trying to spam ping so zealously. I think this isn't really that bad of a call, but at this point, I realize it's just too late. They just don't get it. So it's time to just give up on the play. Um, yeah, we're just a very squishy comp. It's hard to get to have control over a space when everyone on our team is so squishy. We have a Zyra support, a Yone top, just not very tanky champions. Not really something that can team fight. I mean, independently without a frontliner. So now Hextech Dragon is up. Um, I actually get a nice pick on the Kha'Zix here. So I know that he's going to be coming, passing to Dragon. And I have the range advantage on him now. It's important actually that I blast cone him. I wasn't thinking about this, but getting the blast cone on him allows me to keep vision of him in that brush. That's probably what he was not accounting for. So I'm able to chase him down with a flash and get the kill, which completely prevents them from contesting this dragon. Um, so that was a really nice pick. It's a very niche but important thing to keep in mind is that you do get vision on them for a few seconds if you can successfully blast cone them. I mean, the vision plant. Oh, Pyke is gonna auto die in 3 auto attacks to my bomb, which is kind of fun. Now about the GA, mainly because of Vladimir and Kha'Zix both can one-shot me, and we're not having great vision this game, so I don't feel confident not getting a one-shot. I don't want to waste it, but it does end up getting wasted here. Vlad gets a nice flank on us. I should have been closer to my team, but yeah, I should have been with my team here. So a bit of a waste on that GA. Now I just need to value my life and get out of here alive. The fight is over. The goal is to clear the wave so they can't end down mid. And Vlad has no ult, so I'm okay to do this. I actually don't know if he has flash, but I think if he did have flash, he would have killed me. So it's a recurring theme this game actually, something I've done twice. If your team is losing a fight, you realize it's over. Um, you'll hear a lot of advice to just, get out alive once you realize the fight's over. But one important thing that you can do is you can clear the mid wave or whatever wave is nearby. Prevent the enemy from taking towers. It's very important actually to stop them. I think we're gonna manage to kill Vladimir here. Um, to be honest, I'm not too afraid of him, of one for oneing with Vlad here. I tried a barrier. That's an insane amount of R damage, by the way. I could have waited. What I actually should have done was wait for that empowered Q to expire. When the red bar is depleted, he no longer has the empowered Q with the increased damage and healing. So if I just waited a fraction of a second longer and then jumped in, he might have not had the damage to finish me through the barrier. But, wow. Yeah, just wow. So I buy the Maw while the GA is on cooldown, which is a good item against Vlad and the Rumble ult. I'm always keeping an eye on Kha'Zix. Like, I always need to keep in mind where he is at this point because Ma does nothing against Kha'Zix, so I'm going to need to be very mindful of his position and not get one shot by him. I'm not willing to fight if I don't know where Kha'Zix is because you have to assume he's waiting for me to one shot me. Now, this 1-for-1 trade with Vlad I was very happy with because, to be honest, Vlad is more of a threat in these team fights than I am. I just have to accept that. I mean, he's 11 and 8, but I'm 10 and 2, so I should be stronger with more CS, but that's just not how it works. At this stage of the game, Vlad is just a monster, and if I can trade 1-for-1 with Vlad, I'm, you know, that's something to be very happy with. So, like I said, I should have maybe survived that with Vlad if I had I should not be using this, by the way. Playing with fire to use that Hex Gate. I could have survived that encounter with Vlad earlier if I had waited out the empowered Q, but in any case, I think it was still worth it to die 1-for-1 with the Vladimir. So Kha'Zix is dead for 30 seconds, which makes me think that we can maybe Elder. They don't have Jinx either, it's just Vladimir, and he uses his ult, so Vladimir, eh, I'm just autoing the closest target, to be honest. Vladimir's dead, they're all dead, they're aced. Kha'Zix still has 10 seconds on his timer, so I'm about to try and rush this Elder. I do have a lot of damage. Yeah, I do have to remember it's a Hex Gate, so he can get here faster than you might think. 280 health. Kha'Zix jumping into the pit. Just in time. Get that Elder Dragon. So quite a risky play from me. Not as risky if it wasn't a Hex Dragon. I see Kha'Zix coming. He's definitely ulting here, so I just flash. And turns out it was a smart flash because he would have killed me. Instead he gets the Hui. Hui didn't need to be there. But this was quite funny. Let's just watch that one more time. In real time. No health, no mana. Yeah, I must say that was pretty exhilarating. But I did kind of risk throwing the game. But I I mean that's kind of honestly the smartest thing to do I think in that situation because we're not exactly winning 5v5 team fights against a Vladimir with no front line. So also notice now that the GA cooldown is back, you can resell them all and get the GA back. And the cooldown is back up. Now we get Baron pretty easily with the jungler dead. Vladimir's bot, he's not contesting. I don't really want to rip my GA, so I use barrier. Just barely survived that without GA. But now we have Baron and Elder, so... But Yone's dead, again. We really should have full control at this point, but it's just hard to get a 5v5 team fight with this team. Just always people dying randomly in side lanes. Now Kha'Zix, I am looking out for Kha'Zix. I see 4 of them on my screen, but yep, there he is. I need to make sure that he does not one-shot me. I do have my GA, but I just don't want to waste it like that. Kha'Zix has a GA too, so. We're just really fighting for vision control, trying to push them out of the jungle so we can't get flanked anymore. Although I don't really think my team is worried about the vision right now. So we managed to establish some vision control in their bot jungle at this point. Makes it very hard for them to find an advantageous angle on us. There's one more Elder coming up, I think. Vladimir goes in, but he doesn't quite tag me. Well, he tags me, but it's not enough to kill me through my GA. Kha'Zix again. Looking out for the Kha'Zix. Really, just, all you have to do is just run is clean up fights. Let your team do as much damage as they can sometimes in situations like this where there's not really appeal for you to just auto attack. Let your team do the damage to them and just jump in and clean up once they're all dead. Sometimes it's a viable strategy. Here's another risky Elder for your enjoyment. Uh, 2 dead, but Jungler's still alive. Hui is basing for some reason. Jungler gets onto me with ult. Um, Nearly died to the Rumble ult, but Barrier saves me again. So another Elder Baron cycle. Let's see if we can win the game on this one. This time we're a lot more fed with all the kills that we've gotten. And we have both buffs. All 5 of us alive. No Rumble. Kha'Zix is trying to flank us again. And I have no GA. Gotta be careful. Zyra wasting her Zonias. Pretty typical. Um, Half health to that Kha'Zix poke, which is pretty insane that he can poke like that. But finally my team and the Elder and the Baron are doing some work for us, so don't have to do too much in this fight. Then Kindred pops his ult, allowing us to finish off their towers and their Nexus. And that's the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Hope you learned something. Um, Something I forget to mention sometimes is that I do stream on Twitch. So just check me out at my Twitch channel. Link should be in the description. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.